This is the story of a very special race car. It competed successfully in the European Touring Car Championship Series for Group 2 cars in 1976 and 1977, winning the championship in 1976 and finishing runner-up in 1977. In those 2 years, it won 12 races, 9 outright, and 3 class victories. It had 2 second-place finishes and a third-place finish for a record of 15 podium finishes out of 19 races. The story of this winning car begins about 1946 when Luigi and Francesco Cimarosti emigrated from their native Italy to Belgium, where they opened a garage outside of Liège. They began tuning and racing Fiats and were immediately successful, winning 2 Belgian hill climb championships. By the 1970s, the Cimarosti brothers had begun tuning BMWs, and they were joined by their new brother-in-law, Jean Zenceval. Luigi charmed the sponsors, while Francesco built the motors. Jean took up the driving duties for the team. They were again rewarded with success. The Luigi team won the Belgian Championship for production touring cars in 1970 with a BMW 2002 they developed. They also won the prestigious Spa 24-hour race in 1974 and again in 1975 with BMWs they prepared. This success caught the attention of BMW and began a collaboration between the team and the factory that lasted for many years. Early in 1976, the factory gave the Cimarosti brothers a pair of complete factory CSL race cars. With these cars, Luigi would contend the European Touring Car Championship for Group 2 cars. The lead car for the team, chassis number 001, won its very first race in Monza in March 1976. Driven by Jean Zenceval and Pierre Dudun, the car won 4 more races at Mugello, Brno, Silverstone, and Jarma. Coupled with the second at the Salzburgring and a 4th at Vallelunga, chassis number 001 secured the championship for Team Luigi and BMW. The team's luck was not as good at the 2 biggest races of the year. At the Touring Car Grand Prix at the famous Nurburgring in July, Team Luigi hired Hans Stuck to co-drive the number 001 chassis and Gunnar Nilsson to co-drive the number 002 chassis. Stuck put number 001 on pole with a lap time of 8 minutes and 29 seconds. Unfortunately, on lap 14, while leading the race, the engine failed and the car had to retire. The number 002 car went on to win by 2 laps over the second-place BMW. Later in July at the Spa 24-hour race, all 3 cars on the Luigi team suffered engine failures due to faulty piston rings. At the end of the 1976 season, chassis number 001 was sold to the wealthy Italian privateer Martino Finotto. Finotto, a member of the Jolly Club of Milan, began racing in 1972 and had some success, including a second-place finish at the 1977 Daytona 24-hour race. Martino had occasionally rented a seat in one of the Luigi team BMWs during the 1976 season, including a drive in the number 001 chassis at Spa. For 1977, he teamed with his friend Carlos Fassetti to contend the European Touring Car Championship in chassis number 001. The car was going to be prepared by the Luigi team and sponsored by the UFO Jeans Company. Sometime over the winter, there was a falling out between Finotto and Luigi, so the car was prepared by the Italian tuner Imberti. As if to put a little salt in the wound of their disagreement, Finotto chose to race the car in the striking red and white UFO livery used by the Luigi team cars. Finotto and Fassetti won the first race of the 1977 season at Monza. They went on to win 3 more times at Sicily, Brno, and Estoril. With second-place finishes at Salzburgring and Mugello, and a third at Jarma, they were contenders for the championship. Unfortunately, they had a string of 4 DNFs in the middle of the season that handed the championship to the Alpina Grosser Beer team by 6 points. For the 1978 season, chassis number 001 changed hands again. It was bought by an Italian privateer named Alessandro Fracastoro. Alessandro campaigned the car in the Italian touring car series, in hill climbs, and occasionally in ETCC races. Over the years, he repainted the car and added the factory wide-body fenders. The car continued its winning ways with several outright victories and many class wins. Number 001's final in-period race was the 1981 edition of the Trofeo Urat in Salerno. Following this event, number 001 was retired and placed in storage. In 1992, the car was found and purchased by Adolfo Panizza. Mr. Panizza is an avid collector of race cars, motorcycles, and memorabilia. Over the next year, he had the car completely restored by Luigi Motorsports. During this restoration, the car was painted in BMW Motorsports livery. All of number 001's original factory motorsports parts were also retained on the car. Mr. Panizza raced the car several times between 1993 and 2001 in vintage races and hill climb events. The car was retired again to his collection in 2001. We purchased the car from Mr. Panizza in January 2014 and had it shipped to the U.S. It arrived at SeaTac Airport on January 28th. We had a little over 90 days to complete its restoration before its first race in the U.S. The project was given to Jim Frula and Terry Forland at Racecraft in Woodinville, Washington. One of the great joys of the project was finding all the different layers of paint as the old bodywork was removed. The final layer we found was the original Castrol Black, a verification of the unique history of the car. The responsibility for rebuilding the engine went to Terry Tinney in Livermore, California. He was able to completely rebuild the motor in just over 2 months. After Hours Customs was given the difficult job of converting the car back to Group 2 specs and duplicating the striking Castrol livery. They completed the transformation in just over 6 weeks. The car made its U.S. racing debut at the Sonoma Historic Motorsports Festival in May of 2014. People have commented to us that they don't understand why we race such a unique and valuable car. Why risk it on the track, they will ask. Our answer is always the same. How can we do anything else with a car that has been as successful as this car? It has a history of winning races. We'd like to see that history continue.